Story 1. Dryer lint is super flammable and can easily catch fire if it builds up in your dryer's vent. Many people forget to clean it regularly, but it is a serious fire hazard. Keeping that vent clean can prevent a disaster. Story 2. According to Mythbusters back in the day, the kitchen sink is the dirtiest thing in most people's houses. People clean their dishes but don't scrub the sink when they're done. Story 3. Anything you clean with also has to be cleaned every so often, or you are just spreading germs and dirt around. Sponges, brushes, mats, buckets, mops, brooms, dust cloths, sinks and laundry tubs, shower curtains, anything that gets wet like shower heads or fancy faucets or exhaust fans, anything that involves food, not just the obvious surfaces but under and behind and inside to get the little drips and dust bunnies. Personal care stuff, combs, hairbrushes, hairpins and elastics, makeup brushes and sponges, tweezers, clippers, and the containers and bags you store them in. Toothbrush holders. Story 4. I just disassembled and cleaned the entire inside of our dishwasher today. I took the racks out, removed the entire arm assembly, and disassembled the trap or filter at the bottom. It is staggering what gets caught inside that machine. Actually, rather disgusting, really. I used the bathtub and some really hot water to clean the racks and the large arm assembly. Not a hard project, but something I think is widely overlooked. Story 5. The top of the refrigerator. I'm a little taller than the average male. I can't tell you the number of times I have been in someone's kitchen and seen every surface spotlessly clean except the top of the fridge. It is very common in kitchens of shorter women. I'm sure they'd be mortified, as it is usually someone who takes pride in their kitchen and cooking. Story 6. Floor vent registers. Dust the tops of doors and window frames. Dust tops of cabinets and refrigerator. Range hood filter, garbage disposals, garbage cans, couch cushions, coffee machines, the walls. You would be surprised how much dust walls can collect, and dust is the #1 cause of home odor. Story 7. The washing machine may seem counterintuitive, but between the stuff on your clothes, hard water, and too much liquid fabric softener, they get really dirty. Story 8. Your makeup brushes and sponges. I'm being completely hypocritical here, but they should be washed regularly. If you wear makeup to go to work all week, you should probably give your most used brushes a good scrub every weekend, and wash your sponges with soap and warm water every time you use them, and replace them often. Also, stop leaving them upright in a cup out on your counter. They accumulate dust, random debris from the air, dead skin cells, etc., that you then rub all over your face and eyes. Keep them in a bag or a drawer if you can. Story 9. Air conditioner and the unit attached outside. Underside of chair wheels. Light bulb slots, bugs love getting in there. Turn power off first. Charging slots on various devices. Shower head. Put a bag of vinegar over the shower head. Clean the underside of your floor mats. Story 10. Behind your clothes dryer, unplug it, take the back cover off. It's a few screws and go after it. Blow out the vent hose too. Do this once each year. So satisfying. Story 11. The level of personal hygiene is absolutely not high enough in modern society. Even a sponge bath every other day would really make a difference for some. Story 12. Dish sponges, in particular, can become a breeding ground for bacteria due to their damp, porous nature. It is recommended to rinse them thoroughly after each use, sanitize them frequently, such as by microwaving them or running them through the dishwasher, and replace them regularly, typically every 1 to 2 weeks. Story 13. Pot holders. I actually threw a set out as a young adult because they were grimy. Eventually, I realized I could just put them in the washer. I don't think my dad has ever washed his pot holders, and he raised me, so I never considered it. Story 14. This will probably get buried, being such a late comment, but eyeglasses, definitely. Mine get oil built up in the frames around the lenses. Washing them with some soap and warm water, and occasionally a toothpick, gets them all clean again. Story 15. Intimate devices. Do not throw it in a drawer. Do not rinse it briefly. No matter which orifice you are using it with, it needs to be thoroughly cleaned with either proper soap or a good toy cleaner and also stored safely and cleanly. Story 16. Most refrigerators have a little hole in the back at the bottom. Clean that hole once a month because its function is to drain water that sticks to the back. But mold can grow there if you don't clean it regularly. Story 17. Cast iron skillets. Yes, they need to be washed like any other pot or pan. However, hand wash only. Regular dish soap isn't going to hurt it if you seasoned it properly. Dry it and maybe add a tiny bit of oil. That leftover oil and fat is not seasoning and harbors bacteria. Real seasoning is polymerized high smoke point oil like safflower oil. Story 18. I don't know if it counts as items, but light switches, cabinet and door handles, the edges of the doors, the back of chairs, and kitchen extractor fans are places people seem to forget. Even at the homes of some of the tittiest people I know, these places are nasty. Also, please wash your dog's leashes, harnesses, and collars. They are not faded by the sun or worn out. They're dirty. And the slime at the bottom of the water bowl isn't drool. It's mold. Story 19. The filter in your dishwasher is similar to a skimmer basket in a pool that gathers all the larger pieces of food. If your dishwasher has an unpleasant odor, that is the reason. It is meant to be cleaned at least monthly, but for some reason, they are practically hidden and seldom talked about. Story 20. Bed linens should be changed weekly or semi-monthly at most. If you are a particularly oily or sweaty person, definitely do not let it go more than a week. Your bed is full of dead skin cells, body oils, sweat, hair, and dust mites. There is likely an assortment of other bodily fluids present. Clean those things. Story 21. Your stove vent hood filter catches oily vapor when cooking, and that is especially good at capturing dust, which catches more oil and so on, a vicious cycle. And you want the exhaust system to work efficiently. Breathing in too much oily vapor is not good for your lungs. This goes for proper exhaust outside hoods and those less effective hoods I had in every college apartment that just recirculated the air. Throw it in the dishwasher every few months. Replace it if it's torn or bent enough to let air through the sides. I used to work in restaurants, and those are usually cleaned by contract cleaning companies on a regular schedule. You would be amazed at the amount of gunk that gets pulled out of their filters. So at home, this is on a smaller scale, but do it at least once a year. Story 22. This might sound a bit weird, but I realized at some point that a lot of people don't clean their actual cleaning tools. Think about the obvious toilet brush, but what about broom, mop, and vacuum handles? Story 23. Not washed, but discarded. Number 1. Toothbrushes and the little flossers. Switch them out at least once a month. Number 2. Dish rags, loofahs, and what the Japanese call tawashi. Both harbor bazillions of germs. Story 24. I have not seen a single thing relevant to me mentioned that I don't normally clean. That is a relief. Nobody has yet mentioned the banister on your stairs and the wall just behind. Everyone touches it, and it is nasty if not regularly cleaned. Along with door handles and light switches, it should be the first thing you clean when moving into a new home. In my experience, it usually takes a number of passes and scrubbing. You will be disgusted. Story 25. I did pest control for 8 years, and there are 2 things that people never clean. One is their knife block. I can't tell you how many times I walked into a house, turned it over, and showed them all the cockroaches that were living right there. Also, dishwashers and garbage disposals are culprits. Most of the gnats and little flying insects getting in your home are attracted to them. You might not smell that because you're so used to it, but they do. If it's a plastic-lined dishwasher, 1 cup of white vinegar about every 5 or 6 loads, just added with the soap and everything, does wonders. If it's stainless steel, it's most likely not made in America, and the stainless isn't up to American standards. For these, Pine Sol half a cup will do. This will wash away the fats, proteins, and sugars from your dishwasher and your garbage disposal. Eggshells and ice should always go down the garbage disposal. Don't let it sit there and create condensation and stains. Also, refrigerators have moisture traps at the bottom, and you won't believe the mold that can grow in those things. I've pulled out trays where the mold is an inch thick. Happy hunting. Story 26. Your dishwasher or washing machine. No modern appliances are designed to break. It's just that most people were never taught by their parents the proper maintenance to take care of these devices. Properly maintain them and give them an occasional deep cleaning, and they will last you a lifetime. And even despite all the technology that they have, these devices are still hilariously simple when you get to the actual mechanical aspects. And most things that can break from natural wear and tear are pretty easy to replace on your own with minimal knowledge. Usually, the technology is not the failure point of these devices. The failure point is just things like solenoid valves or motor belts or bearings or similar components breaking down over time. On the rare times where the technology is the thing at fault, you can usually just replace the whole board with a used one for pretty cheap. You don't even have to know anything about soldering or anything like that, as most of these things, surprisingly, are still designed for repairability. Many brands still have wires all connected through removable connectors, making it a breeze to replace with little to no electrical experience. Just take a photo of the board beforehand if you're worried about forgetting where each wire plugs into. Story 27. Personal electronics typically have more bacteria than toilet seats. Also, things regularly touched but not washed include steering wheels, doorknobs, especially inside the bathroom, doors and door frames, pillows, refrigerator doors, and handles. Story 28. Wash your coats once a month when it's the season to wear them. Wash your walls, especially in the kitchen. It's gross. Take apart your water bottle and wash it. Your phones, mouse, keyboard, remotes. I keep spray alcohol on my desk at work for this. I clean the on-call phones when they come in. Even your steering wheel, gear shift, etc. The connectors, filters for your vacuums, carpet cleaners, air conditioners, and other appliances like dryers and dishwashers for those of you lucky enough to have them. I've had to ask the cleaning staff at work to clean the flat part of the doors in the middle where people push the door and not the push bar because it was literally yellow from handprints. The door is silver. Basically, if you touch it regularly, you should clean it regularly. Story 29. The faucets, specifically right where the water comes out. I think a lot of people would be shocked at how much crud has built up there, and they didn't even think to look.